There's something I need to say, and it might sting a little, but being nice guy, that's what's keeping you broke. And I don't mean being kind, respectful, or generous. Those things are strengths, they're not weaknesses. I'm talking about the version of nice that's built by avoiding conflict, by suppressing your needs, and constantly seeking approval from others. That isn't kindness, that's fear in disguise. And fear keeps people stuck. It keeps you overworked and financially exhausted. Now stay with me, please, because later on in this video, I'm going to show you the one mindset shift that flips this whole nice guy pattern on its head. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. If you're serious about building wealth, make sure that you subscribe now, because this video is part of a bigger series on money, about mindset, and what I call my book, Way of the Wealthy. I know this pattern because I've personally lived it. I grew up in poverty in housing commission estates, and being helpful was my survival strategy. If I could keep the peace, avoid the trouble, and make everyone happy, maybe, just maybe, my life would be safer. Maybe I'd be loved. When you're young, that strategy can actually protect you. But you know what? You're an adult. When you're an adult, it quietly cages you, keeps you locked in. You become the person who gives everything to everyone else, quietly hoping that one day, somebody will reward me for being good. You wait for permission. You wait for that perfect timing. You wait for life to sort of tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, now it's your turn. But life doesn't reward the person who just waits. Life rewards a person who leads. And for years, I didn't personally lead. I hid behind politeness and perfectionism. I stayed liked. But you know what? I also stayed stuck. I said yes when I really should be saying no. I avoided tough conversations. I convinced myself that being responsible, when in reality, I was just being scared. And here's the part that really hurts. That version of me could never have built the life that I'm living right now. That version of me could never have built a business, created opportunities for myself and other people, invested in property, and designed a life on my terms, Now, the turning point for me was I finally let go of people pleasing and started making unapologetic decisions for my future, my family's future. I built a business even when I had self-doubts. I stopped apologizing for wanting more. It's our natural birthright to want more. I stopped shrinking to make other people comfortable. I took ownership of my own time, my energy, and more importantly, my money. What I found on the other side? Well, it wasn't arrogance, selfish. It was peace. It was purpose. And more importantly, it was clarity. Keep that in mind, because it's going to connect directly to your bank account. Later on in this video, we're going to talk about why the nice guy mindset, can destroy your wealth. And for a lot of people, it really does. There's a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy by Robert Glover. And in it, he describes a modern man or woman who is approval seeking. They're conflict avoidant and terrified of, I suppose, being seen as selfish. He doesn't want to rock the boat. He doesn't want to upset anyone. He believes that if he just sacrifices enough, if he's good enough, if he makes himself small enough, then someone, maybe a partner or a boss or the universe, will eventually reward him or her. And I see the same pattern in money conversations every single week. It sounds like this. I'm just waiting for the right timing to be right before I can invest. My partner's not quite ready yet. Look, I don't want to be too risky. I just want to make sure that I'm going to do the responsible thing first. On the surface, all of these sound sensible, don't they? But when you dig deep beneath the words, most of the time, it's not responsibility talking, it's fear. It's the inner child trying not to upset anyone. It's the adult who hasn't yet claimed authority over their own life. And every single year you stay in that mindset, you push your goals further and further away. Not because your goals are unrealistic or unattainable, but because you're not willing to step into the version of yourself that can actually reach them. In a minute, I'm going to give you the one sentence that you can use as a filter for every financial decision you're going to make from now on. So keep watching. I've written this book called Real Estate, Real Wealth. It's to try to help more and more people get their foot in the Australian property market. Look, I've seen the difference to clients' lives when they come in and see us. I want to make a difference to you. We can't talk to everyone face to face, but if you get a copy of this book, it will be released on Amazon and Kindle very soon. Real Estate, Real Wealth, and it's for you if you want to get into the property market. Check out the descriptions below for updates, and we'll see you for sure at the top. Now let's talk wealth, because this channel isn't just about feelings, it's about outcomes. In my book, Way of the Wealthy, I wrote, no one's going to hand you your dream life. You've got to claim it. And this is where the nice guy hits the wall. The nice guy doesn't claim anything. He or she hopes for it. They hint maybe, oh, it would be nice to have. He delays decision. He or she overthinks every single move. They avoid risk, but it ends up carrying a different kind of risk. The risk of staying stuck in the same place year after year after year. He overgives in relationship and in business as well. He discounts or she discounts her prices. He takes on too much. He avoids uncomfortable conversations with the boss, with the partner, with these clients. They try to stay light and end up being resentful about life and about themselves and about the other people. And because they never want to be selfish, they never actually take the steps that will give them the capacity to be generous from a place of strength. They end up tired. They end up underpaid. And you know what? Quite angry at life. This is why I say the nice guy version of you has to die. Not your kindness, not your heart, not your values. Those are non-negotiable. What has to die is the identity that keeps you small. The identity that avoids the discomfort, calls it being responsible, and then wonders why nothing ever changed. Everything remains the same. Because here's the truth. You can't build real wealth while you're playing small. You can't protect your family while avoiding conflict. You can't build a legacy if you're still waiting for permission from someone, from your boss, your partner, from the universe. It doesn't work. The world doesn't need more people who say yes to everything and then resent it later. It needs grounded leaders, men and women with backbone, with clarity and self-direction. People who don't ask, am I allowed to succeed? But instead say, it's my responsibility to succeed for myself and for my family. That's the shift. And once you start making it, everything in your financial life starts to move. Here's a sentence I promise you, the one that I use as a filter for decisions from now on. Am I making this choice from fear or from responsibility? That's it. Fear says, oh, what if I upset someone? What if someone doesn't like me? Responsibility says, I need to do the right thing for my future and my family future. Fear says, I don't want to make the wrong move, so I'll wait. Responsibility says, standing still is the wrong move. Fear says, I'll wait until the timing is perfect. Responsibility says, you know what? I'm going to create the timing. Wealth doesn't come from perfection. It comes from ownership. Ownership of your mind, ownership of your time, ownership of your decisions. Ownership also of your direction. When you start acting from responsibility instead of fear, you stop asking, what will people think? And you start asking, what kind of life am I building? And that's when things really change. I know they did for me. If this is landing for some of you, pause for a moment and imagine what your life would look like in the next, say, 12 months, 2 years. You made decisions from responsibility instead of fear. What conversations would you finally have? What investments would you finally make? What boundaries would you finally set for yourself? How different would your bank account look if you stopped apologizing for wanting, a bigger life and started asking yourself serious questions? If you're still here right now listening to me, chances are that something inside of you is already shifting. And that's a really good sign. This just isn't an idea for anyone. It's really personal. You're starting to see the cost of staying the nice guy, and you're starting to feel the pull of something that's bigger, maybe something more stronger for you out there. So what do you do next? First, you stop waiting for permission. You don't need it. Secondly, you start leading, but not with ego, not with aggression, but with clarity and certainty. You decide what you want over the next 5, maybe 10 years, 20 years. See what your life's going to look like, and start behaving like the person who's living that life. You're destined for it. You speak up. You start making decisions. You invest in your personal growth. You treat your time like it really matters, because you know what? It really does. If this message is hitting home, that's good. That means something inside you is already starting to move. So, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification. I want to leave you with this. You don't find your worth by being liked. You find your worth by leading yourself, and the rest will follow. Now go and lead, and I'll see you at the top.